Okay, good morning everyone. We're going to get started momentarily here. You do have a few moments still. I just want to go through some quick announcements. First of all, can everybody hear the microphone at this level? Especially the people by the businesses over here. Give me a wave. Behind me? Okay. Flowers and tokens and gestures can all come around this periphery. If they're alive plants, it's best in the shade so they don't cook. There's a book of condolences. You're welcome to sign now, during, or even after the event. We'll leave it out. It's just at the front table. Most of the stuff is at the front table. Programs, especially put together by the families with some comments about the young men, are also available if you can still snag them. They're also available on our website. Chairs are available in, over here. Just make sure that we're leaving them for the people that need them. Stand if you can. Water is available. It is summer right now, and the asphalt really does radiate heat. So if you're feeling like you need some water, there's some provided in this cooler. And you can find shade in the shelter over here as well too, and along the streets. Lastly, if there's anyone that wants to speak, it is a closed mic today, but if there's anybody that feels they want to speak, you can just come find me. I'll just be around here during the event and we can chat. Otherwise, we'll just get going in just a few moments, so feel free to drop your stuff off. Okay, good morning folks. We're going to get started here. First and foremost, I'd like to invite Grouse Barnes, Elder and Knowledge Keeper with the Westbake First Nations, to provide us today with an Indigenous welcome to the lands we're gathering on today.
Good morning. Why Khasi Kukwast. He squeezed Caninum Tumtan Quaitons, Kentala, he seal, he Tumhula, Talikastis Pus Canala to see Kukwast, a God's called Quiltums to Mapana, Talikats Hatset Nahams, Talikast. Good morning. My ancestral name is Caninum Tumtan Quaitons. I'm from Crossa Lake, West Bank First Nation. I'm very glad to be here this morning in this solemn occasion. I'd like you guys to please rise and remove your hats, please. Umatawistwi. Why level makul and jut and kan west. Talikastis buhus kanalata silka cost. Akats kalkaltum sa mapanasil ko kwast. Talikad skatset nakam talikast. Lutwik laman iki slichlach zakay ilunudulakum nakspinik. Talikast wikleman piayat is naksil skitskala. Smistim lutskits nliptementum iki is naksilukted. Talikast is puskana latasil kwast. Thank you, Creator. We're going to gather our prayers together and send it to the families that have lost some nephews, sons, brothers, uncles. We're going to gather our prayers and give it to the Creator to help these families. They are still hurting very much, and I'm happy to be here to offer a little prayer for the ones that left and for the families that are here, as well as their friends that they have worked with. This is a solemn occasion, and we gather our prayers together to give to the Creator to help these families because they are hurting, as well as everybody else here. So, Limlim Kulum Chutin Kanawist, thank you, Creator, from up above. Thank you.
Thanks, Grouse, for offering that to our friends who've left us. So, folks, I want to offer you some comments from my Labour Council. But first, I guess I should introduce who I am. My name is Kelly, and I'm Vice President of the North Okanagan Labour Council. And I've called Kelowna home for decades, like many of you. And for better or worse, I made sure that Kelowna was my home to lay roots, as I know a lot of you made the same decision. And as it turns out, as I learned, so did Cailyn, Jared, Eric, Patrick, and Brad. And because they laid those roots, they were loved. Before the accident, I wasn't aware of this, but 7 of my closer friends knew one or more of these individuals directly. They directly knew them. Others of my friends were downtown at the time the cranes fell, some in the course of their days, others first responding in the course of their duties. And I did see 1 or 2 of them in the crowd today, and I think our community might be a little overdue to give us some applause for the courage they showed that day and since. The bottom line is that this episode really shook our community like I haven't seen since I've been part of it. I consider myself kind of lucky for how removed I was from it. Many weren't so lucky. Every delegate to our Labour Council takes an oath, a commitment really, to advance the interests, the rights, the safety of all of our members in labour unions and the building trades. And even though we might not directly, legally represent the people that worked on this particular site, we have a very strong motto that we say every council. Basically, that what we wish for ourselves, we wish for others, for all workers. So any advances we get in equipment, a better training, better protocols, better regulation, we hope for all workers, because a worker is a worker, and they all deserve to come home at the end of the day. And so that's why our council's involved. The day of the accident, I felt really sluggish and lethargic and off and wrong, and I just remember thinking to myself, if I feel like this, being removed from as much as I am, imagine those who are directly affected. Imagine how the families and the friends of these gentlemen felt. Gutted, really, just paralyzed. And I had other thoughts too. I thought, who's going to say something? Who's going to do something? One of the worst ones was will these boys eventually be forgotten? Nobody on my council could accept that the answer could be yes to that. None of us. And so we called an emergency meeting. We said we're going to do a vigil that weekend. Short notice, sure, but and we're all busy. But the time that we say we don't have, these men never get. So we did it. We got to work, and we called up businesses and organizations and asked for things donated. We asked for flowers and vests even for today's memorial, and the generosity and the overwhelming will for Kelowna people just to help is immense and overwhelming. And so was those who attended the vigil. Honestly, this block, this intersection, for those who remember, was full. It was half full before I even had my hand on the city permit. A guilty admission, but it's overwhelming to see how quickly people come together to console each other and provide the comfort that's so badly needed during these times. And I can tell you this, the gestures and the songs and the comments that we heard that day meant the world to the families that I've talked to and the friends. But it all happened really, really fast. It was that weekend. Not all family could make it, not all friends could, and even if they could, not everybody was ready to experience, to potentially come and speak and to face with the gravity of what potentially happened. And so that's why we're gathered here today, is to give another space and opportunity for those that we might not have heard previously, but to also show everybody that Kelowna remembers. But it's also not just about today, though. We have to turn our minds to the future and doing better. And so at that point, we know there's a big temporary display down the block. It's beautiful. It's been well maintained by the neighborhood, but it suffers the environment, and it's going, and it's temporary in nature. And so our Labor Council really is committed to doing whatever we can in partnership with the city, the developer, the community at large, to try to have a permanent public-facing place that family friends can come to remember and honor these gentlemen, to make sure that the names, Eric, Cailyn, Jared, Patrick, and Brad, are never forgotten. Last year, I had asked you all for a favor at the vigil. I'd asked you to kind of suspend your opinions and your comments about maybe what the cause was, or potentially who to blame was, or what needed to happen in the future, because we were waiting for an investigation, a full investigation report from WorkSafe to be completed. And as many of you know, that's still the case today. So I ask you to do the same commitment, and I'll make the same. But it needs to be said, and our Labor Council wants to say it, that we really compel WorkSafe to expeditiously complete this report and not delay in any way and invest any resources needed to finally give the closure and the answers to these families who really need it at this point. And lastly, I want to personally call on the craning industry and the construction industry, both the owners, operators, subcontractors, and the workers, to take a hard look at what's inside that report and the findings and what it speaks to about regulations and the culture we might have and what we're doing. I'm not saying anything right now. All I'm saying is we need to really turn our minds to this, because those individuals, believe it or not, could have been any single one of you at any point of your life. And accidents do not discriminate. And you end up paying the ultimate price for just going to work, and that's unacceptable. And so we need to do better, and I call on all the industry and its workers to do so. In my day job, I do less health and safety than I used to do, but there's one quote that always stuck with me, and that was that tomorrow is a reward for working safely today. And I can't think of any game greater than that. At this time, I'd like to invite our representative from the City of Kelowna, Mayor Cailyn Bazaran, to come provide us some comments on behalf of the city.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Just before I get started, I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathered this morning on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Syilx people. And I want to thank Elder Barnes for his opening prayers and remarks. We seem to be having some technical difficulties here. I think we're okay. It just was cutting in and out. So, I'm grateful. Hello. Test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, test. Test, test. Hello. Okay, there we go. So I'm grateful to be here along with my council colleagues Mohini Singh and Councillor Loyal Wooldridge to be able to be here to recognize and remember the 5 men whose lives were taken far too early. I want to thank Kelly and the North Okanagan Labour Council for organizing this memorial ceremony on the 1-year anniversary of this terribly tragic event. The pain of losing co-workers and loved ones can be overwhelming, and my thoughts go to the families of those affected by this workplace accident. I think of the passionate and hard-working first responders, including our fire department, the RCMP, and paramedics, who were so quick to help those on scene. With time and the comfort of family and friends, my hope is that you will find strength and peace in your lives. As has been said, every day we all come to work and expect to go home at the end of the day to our families, friends, and loved ones. Today, as we pause and reflect on those who have lost their lives at work, let's do all we can to ensure safety at our workplaces is top of mind for all of us every day. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Mayor Bezran, for those thoughtful words. They really do mean a lot. Our next speaker has a different relationship to this tragedy. Unlike the speaker before her, she's not an elected representative. Rather, her commitment to this is a connection through her professional work, in that she's the director of OSH investigations of WorkSafeBC. As you can imagine, this is very important work that comes with a great responsibility both to the affected worksite, but also the community that those workers lived in. And so we're grateful to have her today with us. So I'd ask you to join me in welcoming her, Jessica Berglund, to the stage to share with us some comments on behalf of WorkSafe British Columbia.
Thank you, Kelly. And thank you, good morning, and thank you to the North Okanagan Labour Council for hosting this memorial today and for asking WorkSafeBC to speak. And I also want to thank all of you for attending this very important event. So, as we all know, we're gathered here to remember the terrible tragedy that occurred 1 year ago today, just behind us. On July 12th, 2021, 5 workers died when there was a catastrophic failure while a tower crane was being dismantled. And as we know, those workers were Eric Stemmer, Patrick Stemmer, Cailyn Vilness, Jared Zuk, and Brad Zawislak. A 6th worker was injured while the tower crane was coming down. And on behalf of WorkSafeBC, I offer our deepest condolences to the families and loved ones of those workers, as well as their colleagues and friends. And while this is a very somber anniversary, it's important that we also take the time to reflect on the learnings from this terrible loss. And really, one of the ways we can honor the memory of these workers is as we go forward to learn from what happened. WorkSafeBC, the RCMP, and the BC Coroner Service are all conducting concurrent and parallel investigations into this tragedy. And the primary purpose of the WorkSafeBC investigation is to identify what caused this incident, including the contributing factors. As you have heard, our investigation is still underway, but we are getting very close to completion, and I'm pleased to say the majority of the work has been done on that investigation. And as soon as we have concluded and finalized our report, we will be sharing the findings to build an understanding of what happened last year on July 12th, and how we can prevent these types of incidents from happening again in the future. Throughout this past year and even previously, WorkSafeBC has continued its crane safety efforts across the province. Through our crane and mobile equipment initiative, we conduct risk-based inspections of all workplaces to ensure that employers are effectively managing key risks associated with all stages of crane and mobile equipment operation. Through that initiative, we collaborate with industry stakeholders to understand those risks, and we assist them to develop and distribute tools and resources that support employers in addressing hazards associated with crane use. It is so essential that workers are engaged by their employer so they understand the risks associated with the work they do, that they participate in the assessment and control of those risks, and are fully trained in all aspects of tower crane safety. So remember, all of these industry groups, all of these workplace groups, employers, workers, industry stakeholders, all of them have a really important role to play in making tower crane workplaces safer. And in any workplace, regardless of the industry, we all have a shared responsibility for health and safety. So I ask everyone here to mark the tragedy that occurred here by making a commitment to health and safety in your own workplace. So in remembering the workers who died here a year ago, we must remember that every workplace injury or death has a terrible impact on those workers' families, friends, and colleagues. Please learn to be aware of the risks in your workplace. Work together to assess those risks, address them, and keep each other safe. And let's please honor the memory of Eric, Patrick, Cailyn, Jared, and Brad by doing our part to prevent workplace injury, illness, and death every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. I think you speak, or I speak for all of us when I say thank you for all the hard work you do with WorkSafeBC and everything, your commitment to that organization. And the work that they do, it really matters. So at this time, I want to get to most of our most important speakers of the event, and that's our family speakers. I'd like to invite up to come up to the stage our first speakers, Pam and Stephen Zuk, parents of Jared Zuk. Jared was an Edmonton boy originally. He'd moved to Kelowna in 2019 to continue his career in construction. And Jared was unmistakable for his curly blonde hair tucked into his red hard hat as a construction worker. But he was even so much more than that. And so I'd like to invite his parents, Pam and Stephen, to tell us how much more he was.
We just want to thank everyone for all the collaboration that has gone into making today happen, because today's important. Like Stephen and I say, whenever we get to talk about our son, it's a good day. We'll never stop talking about him. He'll forever be a part of our story. So for those of you who don't know how awesome our son is, we wanted to share a little bit with you. Jared was a completion to our family of 4, 1 girl, 1 boy, and I always told our kids we didn't need any more children because we had the perfect boy and the perfect girl. Growing up, Jared was easygoing, but particular about certain things. He needed his blanket folded perfect on his pillow each night. He would flush the toilet after he opened the bathroom door, not before. As a young boy, Jared was quite shy until he got to know you. He was reserved and a thinker. He was very affectionate growing up, and relationships were very important to him. Jared didn't always have the blonde fro he became known for. For a few years, he rocked the mullet until peer pressure from 5-year-old friends became too much, and he insisted it had to be a buzz cut. Then, when he hit puberty, it grew curly, and the only time he went short was when he raised funds to go on a service trip to Mexico. Jared's love language was quality time, and that was evident by the effort he made for family time. Family nights of movies and games were always a priority, and Jared continued to make spending time together with family his priority, and he worked hard to arrange holidays together until his late 20s. Jared loved adventures, doing things out of the norm, out of the box. He's got crazy stories. He ate roasted spiders, had fireworks wars, rode a plasma car down a hill on a sidewalk, seeing how much speed he could get, paintball wars, softball fights, occasionally done indoors, and some furniture still bears witness, but left intentionally for the reminder that fun and games isn't always quote-unquote pretty. He loved blowing things up, and the bigger the explosion, the better, and he would come up with creative ideas and concoctions for bigger and better explosions. He was creative. For instance, having a laxative challenge with his buddies. No harm for most. The one who held out the longest got bragging rights. Jared had a sense of humor that always lightened things up. Sure do miss that. Even when he was going through challenges, he didn't let that keep him from making others laugh. With his witty comebacks and comments, often what others were thinking, but Jared was bold enough to say. Jared went on several trips that involved helping less fortunate, and he got out of his comfort zone to help with skits and games, and as much as he disliked speaking in front of people, he did it anyway. He had a passion and a gift for sound, and in high school found an opportunity to use it. He served many hours on end through his involvement with the church community and community events. He had a keen ear for it and was very particular in producing excellent sound. He started to learn good work ethics and integrity growing up, and at 15 years old, had the opportunity to really practice it as he started to work with his cousin in the framing industry. It was very physical work, which he had to get conditioned for, and it required pushing through tough days, possibly with mom and dad's encouragement, and that he would be picked up at the end of the workday and not at 10 a.m. when he called because it was hard and he was exhausted or minorly hurt. He was encouraged to walk it off, but as he pushed through, he admitted it toughened him up. He was not a quitter and wanted to see the task completed and stuck with it. So many things we miss about Jared. Number one, his stubbornness, for real. It worked in his benefit often. His big grin, regardless of how he felt and what he was walking through, he always had a smile. His humor, quick and witty, lightened the mood. His super tight bear hugs, he was nicknamed Bear since he was born. His attachment to his family, his very presence. His adventurous spirit, his ability to chill, enjoy the moment, his generous spirit, Jared filling his spot that no one else can fill. How Jared made people feel seen and valued by taking the time for the one, and nothing like Jared's laugh. And I just wanted to share, because I know Jared would want us to be encouraged today, so I'm going to end my part with this. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. The old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were together, that we still are. Call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air or solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is absolute and unbroken continuity. What is death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval, somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well, nothing is hurt, nothing is lost. One brief moment and all will be as was before. How we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we shall meet again. By Henry Scott Holland.
Again, thank you all for showing up today. Your support is very much appreciated. I'd like to just share a little bit of what Pam and I have walked through over this last year. July 12, 2021 was the darkest, most gut-wrenching day as a parent has ever had to endure. Starting to hear rumors about a crane accident in Kelowna, being asked by family if it was Jared's crane. That was not just an accident, but the actual crane had collapsed and was on the ground. Finding out it was Jared's site, but rationalizing Jared would be fine. He was a rigger, he would have been working on the ground. Repeatedly calling Jared's phone but getting no response. That was when the fear began to rise up in me. Endless attempts to contact his company, trying to contact people he worked with and getting no answers. Ultimately getting connected to Kelowna RCMP, hours and numerous calls back and forth, but still no definitive answers. Finally, the second worst kind of call you can receive. It was, please send pictures of your son. Does he have any distinguishing features? Any scars or tattoos? Then the worst came. I'm sorry to inform you, your son Jared was one of the deceased. How can you process that kind of message? If you meet a widow or an orphan, you will know immediately what kind of loss they have suffered. But what about a parent who has lost a child? There is no English word, or label, if you will. There is a word coming out of the ancient Sanskrit language, which is used, is vohoma, viloma. The meaning of this word is against a natural order. It is against the natural order of life for a parent to have to bury a child. Whether that child is a baby, 10, 23, 28, 32, or 44, they're still your child. The heartache is still the same. When a child is born, hope in what that child will grow, mature, and have purpose and destiny and fulfill that natural order, that hope comes alive. That process is stopped when your child is taken. Your soul takes a hit that many parents find hard to recover from. Statistics will show that some do not. Some words of wisdom that were given to me, that were given to us, is that you will never heal, but you will recover. That missing piece will always be missing. So how do you recover? There is no right or wrong answer for that. Everyone's journey looks different. For Pam and I, it is our faith, our belief system, that has sustained us over the last year. I know where Jared fell. I have pictures on my phone where I can see where he is laying, his bright yellow stemmer shirt showing. I know different ones that talked to him as he lay there unable to move. If I sit and dwell on these circumstances, my mind will quickly take me down to a dark and depressed place. This wasn't something Jared could just walk off. There's a quote that says, we can't choose our circumstances, but we have a choice in how we respond. But here's where, for Pam and I, our confidence lies. That when Jared took his last breath, Jesus came down, picked him up, dusted him off, put everything right, and took him to heaven. To say that we have recovered would be a lie. We still hurt. The tears still flow frequency because we miss our boy. The anger still comes because this should never have happened. The frustration is still there because we have yet to get any answers. This cannot happen to another family again. And my last point is, grieving is not an event, it's a lifetime of absorbing the reality of multiple losses. There is no such thing as a closure. Thank you all very much.
That's fine.
Thank you, Pam and Stephen. Our next speaker's relationship to this event is he's the dad of Cailyn Vilness. I consider myself lucky to have learned just the small sliver of what I learned about Cailyn. A son, a boxer, a car lover, definitely my kind of guy, and so is his dad. I have a lot of respect for him, and I consider him a friend at this point. Not too long ago, Chris and I were even meeting with the city about getting together what it would take to do a permanent public installation, and there wasn't always I thought that was possible, but after I met Chris, I'm confident that it is, and I want you to meet him too. So, Chris, I'd invite you to the stage, say a few words. Everybody, please help me welcome Chris Vilness, father of the deeply missed Cailyn Vilness, to share a few words.
Sure. I'm going to do my best, but there's no guarantees that I'll get through this. Getting through today, or to today, has been extremely challenging. You look for the milestones, and this is the last of the first for the families. But I'll start. I'm Chris Vilness, the father of Cailyn Vilness. This is Haley, Cailyn's stepmom. And then Madeline's also here. Cailyn's youngest sister. I'll let Danielle introduce her girls. Lane is Cailyn's oldest brother. Him and Declan are doing a service somewhat like this in Kitimat to represent her family there. So I'll start by thanking everybody for taking the time to come out to this event. It is extremely important to the families to see everyone here. I'm sure you can see that we're all still very much grieving. I'd like to thank Kelly from the Okanagan Labour Council. When I reached out about this, it was a no-brainer. It was an automatic yes. Doug Gilchrist from the city, it was no hesitation. Absolutely, we'll make this happen for you and your family and the families. Since this happened over the past year, the amount of support that Kelowna has given us, Kitimat, which was Cailyn's hometown, that community is still grieving heavily. For the loss. We appreciate the work with WorkSafe and the RCMP to conclude this investigation. Hopefully we don't have to wait much longer to find out the details of what happened and why. There's good people here like Patty from Cyber Concrete who made these banners and stickers. Another person who's just reached out because they cared. Clinton Connell from BC Career and Safety. From the moment this happened, he was on the phone to let me know that we're going to make this a better industry. We're going to work to make some stricter regulations, and we're going to push this even before WorkSafe. So he started a committee, and it's actively in the works, and there's a lot of people involved and willing to put the work in to make sure that we don't lose another 5. This isn't just a one-off, but hopefully we're nearing the end of 5 kids. They're their kids. They went to work. I run my mind through the accident and the tragedy, but think about them going up that tower that morning. A proud bunch, gonna build something great, gonna do great things that day. They were together, they were a team, and then tragedy struck. So we absolutely need to do better to protect our workers, to protect our people. I've been in the construction business for 30 plus years, and you know, we work for a living. We don't work to give our life. We're here to make a buck, not to be stretchered off. So I relive July 12th, 2021 each and every single day. There's been a number of unions who have reached out. I know this was not a union site, but union, non-union, there is no jurisdiction when it comes to safety.
That's right.
Every worker, any age, any race, any gender, deserves to know that they're working in a safe environment and has the opportunity to go to work and go home from their families, or to their families. For Cailyn, this was his first day back. His first day back to Stemmer. Stemmer is a company that he admired, he was proud to be a part of. He worked for good men. Patrick and Eric were good men. Wolfram is a good man. I wasn't going to say this, but I will. Wolfram's not here today. His grief is heavy. He carries the grief of 5. He's a good man. And when he's ready, my hand is there for him. But I know that will take time. There's another individual in this crowd. I believe he's there. His name is Levi. He walked away from that accident, barely. But his name, or his initials, are not on these stickers. His name's not on the back of his shirt. But he was directly involved with this accident and needs the support of the community, needs the support of the industry. And we all need to help him through as well. He was lucky. And I do believe that these 5 individuals, their personalities, they were an all-star team. They were all great. They were all great family people. Eric was going to become father of his boy. Patrick's got his 2 girls. Young families. I don't know a lot about Brad, but from what I've read, looked like a real great human being as well. Jared, young man, fun, loving, big teddy bear. You know, Cailyn, just starting life. He was, in a week's time, about to move from West Kelowna to a house over in Lake Country, and that was the time that I was supposed to be coming to Kelowna. August long weekend. Not jumping on a private jet to get here as quickly as I could to finally find out at 11:30 at night that my son was gone. I had to wait 12 hours to find out that Cailyn was not going to walk away from this. It's tragic, and it doesn't go away. And yes, this could happen to anybody working on that site. That was a big piece of equipment that came down. There's a lot of people involved. It doesn't matter what your task is. It doesn't matter who you're working for. It doesn't matter who you are. You can't take your work for granted. You can't just expect that you're going to get to go home. Us as managers, as people that provide the training and the certification and the regulations and set our workers and our people up for success, that's our responsibility. And we have that responsibility. Us in the office, we have the responsibility to make sure that the people out there doing the work, going home is not optional, it's mandatory. We need to provide a safe work environment, a safe culture for each and every worker that shows up for work every single day. You know, this is the one year, but this is a day like today is we live it each and every single day as we all try to reel our lives back and understand how we move forward and you know, eventually maybe one day smile and actually mean it. Because right now it's all surface. We're also incredibly scarred that we don't even really know who we are at this point. So on that, I would really like to thank each and every one of you for coming out to this event today. It means the world to us. We are hoping to get a permanent memorial somewhere around the city of Kelowna, and yes, maybe a memorial for these 5 individuals, but it's not just a memorial for these 5, it's a memorial for the awareness.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay? Nobody in this room wants to be standing here doing what I'm doing right now for this reason. So it's not just about Eric and Patrick, Jared, Brad, and Cailyn. It's about every single worker that puts a hard hat and steel-toed boots on, plumbing, carpentry, crane operator, erector, whatever. That's who that memorial is for. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. You're a good man. Our last speaker also has a very special relationship to Cailyn. Danielle Pritchett is his mother. I thought a lot about how to best to introduce our last speaker here, and like Chris, I've been able to spend some time getting to know her. I heard her speak at the day of mourning. I saw her at the vigil. We even watched the snowbirds together on her deck this weekend. And every story she told me about Cailyn, there's one thing I knew in my heart, and that's that Danielle is a great mom. And like any good mom, she knows her baby boy better than us. She's also got a display she wants to show right before our moment of silence. The clock is up here at 10:55. Was the day that these men passed away, and we're going to all take a moment of silence at that time. But Danielle will give us some parting words before then.
Hello, everybody. It's hot out here, isn't it? I just want to say thank you for coming today. It means the world to us. It really does. I'm just going to take this off. Is that okay? Yes. I don't know how to do it. There we go. That's better. It means the world to us that each one of you are here, standing in the heat of the day, coming to remember with us. And I just want to say, first of all, that one block down, that next light right there, I stood with 2 very close friends of mine, a family member, Cailyn's girlfriend, her mom, and we stood for hours in 35-degree weather waiting for the news of our son. And so I wanted to just bring that to everybody's attention because that was the most difficult, tragic day of our lives. It was terribly difficult. And I have said before, a piece of me died that day. But you know, today we have to take today as today. Today is a new day. If we keep looking back, we will never move forward. And so just seeing the support from the community, from the construction industry here represented in the Visi vests, I just want to say thank you for taking the time. I also want to thank personally as a mom, the RCMP, the Kelowna RCMP. What a formidable job you guys did to help us that day. Can we give them just a quick applause? Thank you. I just want to say thank you. The first responders, incredible, incredible the work you did that day. I just, again, want to say thank you. If we can acknowledge them. How much time do I have? I can't see. 10 seconds. 10 seconds? Okay, oh my gosh. So I'm just going to read a poem today, and we're just going to take our moment of silence. The crane blast is happening here. Now I don't know if I'm going to get through what I have to say. I was going to rush to try and beat the horns, but I just wanted to speak to also every construction worker that's here today. And I just want to say to you, as a mom, Cailyn called me Mama Bear. And you know that a bear can be soft and cuddly, but a bear can also be and I was that mom, that Mama Bear to Cailyn. And I just want to say to each and every one of you, no timeline, no budget, no pressure from your foreman, from your bosses, from your general manager is worth overlooking safety. It's not worth it, because when that happens, people die. My son is gone because of pressure, because of timelines, because of budget. And I don't have the exact cause, but I also do know what my son went through. And at the day of mourning, I did speak about that, about the mentality of safety, that it's a hindrance. I've also worked on work sites, and I've seen how the mentality of safety on the job. So take the time to make the right decision. Take the time to tie off. Take the time to put the hard hat on. Take the time to put your safety glasses on. No matter what, can I get a commitment from each and every construction worker here today that you're going to take a second to just think about the work you're doing, how you're doing it, and how you're training those that are new into the industry. Yeah, that's important to say, you know, because I'm angry at what happened to my son, but if I don't redirect that anger into something positive, I'm going to go down a really dark road. So I'm going to say that every opportunity I have, be safe. Be safe in every job that you're doing. And so today we have, can I have Maddie and Haley come up as well? Today we have, Cailyn had 5 siblings. So Haley, who is Cailyn's stepmom, is standing in for Declan, one of Cailyn's brothers. Madeline, standing beside Haley, is one of Cailyn's sisters. And if you go to the far right, that is Karis and Anna. Those are Cailyn's sisters, my daughters. And next to them in the middle is my brother Darren and his beautiful wife Leanne. And they are standing in for my son Lane, who is at work today. So I'm going to read this poem, and I want to leave off with it so that we can all just really think through what happened here last year this time and what we can do different moving forward into the future. So this poem is called 4 Candles. The author is unknown. Because we have 5 men to remember today, I've added a verse. I hope the unknown author doesn't mind. So here it is. 4 candles. The first candle represents our grief. You can go ahead and light the candle, Haley. Oh. The first candle represents our grief. The pain of losing you is intense. It reminds us of the depth of our love for you. The second candle represents our courage to confront our sorrow, to comfort each other, to change our lives. This third candle we light. Check. There. Hey, techie. This third candle we light in your memory for the times we laughed, for the times we cried, for the times we were angry with each other, for the silly things you did, the caring and the joy you gave us. This fourth candle we light for our love. We light this candle that your light will always shine. As we enter this season and share this day of remembrance with our family and friends, we cherish the special place in our hearts that will always be reserved for you. We thank you for the gift your living brought to each one of us. We love you. We remember you. And I wrote this verse. This last candle we light on behalf of our men. For their crew who stood by with tears on their cheeks. For the beautiful words you so gently speak. For our family, our friends, the community at large. For your love and compassion you so generously charge. Who would have known they would not have come home? We thank you all now that we are never alone.